Welcome to another episode of The Man Space. My co-host Coach Kunle and I are absolutely delighted week after week to feature gentlemen from different parts of the world, from different walks of life, to show up in their authentic self and talk about the importance of feeling and vulnerability and being human, because men and women, boys and girls, we're all human. That is fundamentally who we are. And as humans, we are feeling beings who have the capacity to think and act. We're not thinking, acting creatures who happen to, may or may not have feelings. No, we are feeling beings. That is where life starts. And we want to honor that space. We want to create that into a safe place. And to have this conversation with us today is somebody I consider a friend, a fellow author, Scott Delaney. And he has this amazing book, and his entire life is about the joy of being different and the power of being different in spite of the world requiring conformity, and why it's important for each of us just to be daring enough to be different. So welcome to the Man Space, Scott. It is an absolute delight.
Thank you, Dr. Cass. I really appreciate that. And hello, Kinley. It's good to see you as well.
So as
Thank
we
you.
get started, Scott, talk to us about why you work in the IRS. When
I
people hear
do.
IRS, what they think is conforming, taxes. The tax man is going to come after you. Uncle Sam is going to get me. But here you are, comfortable in being different, writing a book about the joy of being different and the magic of being different, and allowing that difference and the feeling of being different propel you into the magic of life. Talk to us about why you wrote this book and what you want the world to get from this book.
Sure, absolutely. So to me, this book is really about it's about being different and embracing your differences. And it's been a journey for me my whole life. As you said, I work in IRS. This book has nothing to do with work or anything like that. But it does have a lot to do with just treating people right and being able to accept your differences and accept yourself and stuff like that. And for me, being an empathetic male is a little bit unusual, and so it was a little bit difficult for me to understand that growing up. And it was, a lot of feelings, a lot of emotions, a lot of thinking and stuff like that. And it was a very different way to kind of grow up, but it was a very powerful way also once I learned to harness that and like to learn that and absorb that and accept that in me and stuff. And then instead of it being where I was different and odd and all this stuff because I had emotions and feelings and all this stuff. It really kind of helped me as I became older and became comfortable with it and accepted myself and became strong within myself and accepted myself. It became a strength because then I was able to empathize with people and understand people, and it helped with my leadership journey, which I did for 10 years in government. It helped with my day-to-day life. It's helped with my relationships. It's helped with friends. It's helped with family. But just being able to have some empathy and being a little bit different because of it, it's turning a potential weakness or something that was odd and different and people made fun of when I was young and stuff. But it's turned it into something powerful for me now, and it's something that I embrace and I recognize as a strength. And I wanted to share that with the world. I wanted to share that all of us have something different about us. All of us have something unique about us and stuff. And we don't have to be perfect. Like nobody is perfect. The idea of something being perfect is, it's this idealism and stuff like that. But like really all of us, we may not be perfect, but we're perfect for our purpose. And that's the beauty of it and stuff. And that's really the message in Elfie Earns Her Wings, Courage, Empathy, and Teamwork, my book. It's about learning to be accepting of yourself and finding those strengths and differences. You know, in the book, Elfie is, you know, she's a Fixie. She's half fairy and half pixie. And her father's a pixie, her mother is a fairy. And between the two of them, you know, she's different. You know, they have green eyes and conch shell skin and hickory colored skin and all that stuff. And they look different and stuff. And she's got silver skin and silver wings, and she looks totally different. But as she goes through the process, you know, she learns that she's got attributes of her father that make her strong, and she's got attributes of her mother that make her strong. Even though she looks different and sometimes acts different, those strengths are what make her strong, and that's what makes her a powerful protagonist in my story. And hopefully she becomes an example of something that people want to embrace and follow and stuff. So that's the idea of the book. I really appreciate, I know I kind of talked a little bit about that, but that's the idea of the book, is just you know, just to accept your differences, and to, you know, just to know that you're perfect for your purpose.
Wow, Scott, what a book. What a book this is. I mean, based on how you've been able to summarize the why behind the book. And I can't just wait to read the book. And I'm sure a lot of people can't wait as well. Because one of the words that keep resonating is the fact that people need to find that strength and accept who they are, and then go ahead and be empathetic with themselves, and then as well as other people. I want you to talk to us about two ingredients that keep, resonating in my mind as you are talking, and that's courage and empathy. How people can find the courage to accept who they are, and not only that, the empathy to also accept other people for who they are. Scott.
I think that's a great question. I think the courage to accept yourself definitely comes from within, but it's a journey, I think. I think it definitely is a journey, and I think it takes time to kind of become comfortable with it and learn the lessons. But I think it comes at a time when the universe says, or whatever you believe in, a higher power, you know, I think you have a path ahead of you, and I think you have somewhere where you're going to get to and stuff like that. And I think it's going to happen. It's going to happen for your strength. It's the courage is inside you, and it's a matter of life presenting things that help you unlock that within yourself and stuff. You know, Alfie goes on 3 adventures. She goes, the first adventure, she finds the Crow King, and she is in this forest, and has to find the courage within herself to escape from the Crow King and stuff. You know, in the second adventure, she is goes off into the woods, and she goes to Frida's pond, and she comes across a badger who is who's very hungry and stuff, and so she has empathy in that regard, and she realizes this badger, he's a bully badger, you know, he may be grumpy and mean and all that stuff, but the reason he is through empathy. She understands that he's hungry, and by him being hungry, it's affected his behavior and stuff, you know, and that empathy is a really powerful part of that. But I think that courage to have that and look inside you and find that inside you, it does come. And sometimes it's you know, it's unexpected, that courage, when you find it. But when you find it, and when you're able to look inside and find that strength and find that courage inside you to embrace yourself, it changes everything. And I think sometimes having that empathy with other people is sometimes something that you find inside. And when you can have empathy, sometimes it's easier to have empathy with other people than it is to have empathy with yourself. But having that courage to allow yourself to have empathy with yourself is really a beautiful thing. So, Kunle, does that answer your question, or does that? I think that was what I was trying to say.
Absolutely.
Yeah, awesome.
That was beautifully explained, Scott. Thank you so very much. And you make a very important point. We normally are quick to have grace for other people, but we are each too hard on ourselves. And the point that we have to have grace for ourselves and find the courage for ourselves and hold space for ourselves, that is so important. And it's important for our entire well-being. It's important for our mental health. It is important for our psychological well-being. Talk to us a little bit about the message of Fixie in terms of a masculine stereotype of the world, right? Men have to be strong, and strength is physical. and being emotionally vulnerable or feeling or having emotions is weak. All of those are gender norms that is culturally neutral around the world. And yet, everything we're seeing in the world today, when masculine emotion is suppressed, it explodes like a volcano, and the outcome is violence. Violence
I
towards themselves or violence towards other people, whether it's war between countries, in a society, or inside the house or inside a person. War it is. And the importance of embracing and understanding Fixie to stop that inner turmoil and that eruption.
Yeah, I think that inner turmoil is something that we all struggle with. And I think it's more, maybe not more pronounced. I think it's definitely pronounced in men and boys, that feeling of not being able to share emotions and share feelings and stuff. And I certainly experienced that throughout my life. But I feel like it impacts everybody and stuff, men and women and non-gender and anybody in between and stuff. I think it affects everybody and stuff. Just that feeling of, um, you know, acceptance, wanting to find acceptance and finding that somewhere. And sometimes I think that journey starts externally. And I think a lot of times, a lot of us look for external validation and finding that happiness and that peace within. But I think the true value is the internal, and the internal is non-gendered. It's not male or female or anything like that. But that internal strength to have that conviction to go forward and say, I am going to accept myself, and being able to look at yourself and accept yourself, that's the scariest thing possible. To say that you're good enough and that you deserve love, that's an incredibly powerful thing to say. But to have that acceptance and to find that acceptance and to realize that truth, it's such a beautiful thing, but it's such a powerful journey to go through. And for each of us, it's an individual journey that we go through. For me, it was difficult, but like this book was that kind of, um, like the culmination of all those feelings and all that experiences growing up as a child, feeling different, being looked at odd and stuff like that, but like realizing that strength inside me and finding that love inside me. That's, I think, if all of us, if we can help, if this book helps one other person find love within themselves, I think it's accomplished its mission and stuff, and I think that's the thing. I think love is the answer. Love for yourself and love for others, and that love is leads to acceptance, it leads to empathy, it leads to courage, it leads to all those things, because you're connected to the universe in a more powerful way. You're connected through love and acceptance and empathy.
Hmm. That was massive, Scott, and very, very apt and, spot on. And as you were talking about this, it comes to mind, I mean, while Dr. Kaz was laying the introduction about you as an IRS personnel executive, how we have a lot of people conform to their, to their jobs or their, profession, thereby creating a kind of self-denial, about their purpose, about who they are, and I think it's creating like a kind of loophole in our society. I want you to talk to us how people can navigate this particular phenomenon in the world, whereby you do not divorce yourself, when you get into the space where you need to walk in different strata in the society. You are a law enforcer, but you can still show kindness, irrespective, because that it takes a lot of, courage, just as the word which you have, I mean, you have talked about a lot on this particular on this particular cast. So how do people navigate that particular, incident, whereby they don't have to, divorce who they are from what they do, finding that integration somehow? How do they go about that, Scott?
I think that's an interesting thing. First of all, I'm not an executive at IRS. I was in management, but I'm no longer in management. But to me, I think finding that, for me, I found the passion for work through things that were passionate for me. So people are very passionate for me. Like, I love people, I love all that stuff. And so for me, I found that passion on work through leadership. And for 10 years, I was in leadership and I really enjoyed it. And it was something, I had a lot of opportunities and a lot of great opportunities in IRS to try a lot of different things and help a lot of people. And it was an incredible thing and stuff. But really, a lot of that strength and that courage, it comes from within, and I think it comes from within. And sometimes that external validation, or those external influences, having somebody believe in you, a mentor or a friend or a family member, something like that, someone who believes in you can give you that external validation and external strength. But I think the most powerful is that internal validation. When you, instead of looking for externally to yourself for that like strength and courage to be who you are and to accept who you are and to have that courage, when that strength comes from within and you find that strength within, it's incredibly powerful and stuff, and for me, I think, Kunle, you're really involved with mental health, and you're a mental health advocate, and I think a lot of people like sometimes that has like a negative connotation or whatever, but sometimes getting help and talking to somebody, whether you have a mental health issue or not, but talking to somebody can sometimes help that and bring that out of you and help you find that internal source. And that's what I've had. Over the years, I've had a number of people who've helped me. I've had family, I've had friends, I've had professionals who I've talked to and worked through issues. And it's powerful to find that internal validation, that internal strength. I think it really makes a difference, and it helps you find that courage.
Fantastic approach. And I absolutely love the message you're giving our audience. I know they're going to want to figure out how to get a hold of you, how to get a hold of your book. So I would love for you to actually take a moment and share with our audience how they can reach you and how they can get the book. But also in closing, then what is one of the most valuable thoughts you want them to take with them into the day as they go through their everyday life? Because sometimes it takes an external message to spark something in each of us. What message do you have to spark that courageous journey to live their purpose?
The message that I share is just that you're worth it. You're worth the energy that you put into yourself. The empathy that you have for other people is the empathy that you can have for yourself. The understanding that you have for other people is the understanding that you can have for yourself. And if you believe that, and if you understand that, it can change your life. And that's what I'm hoping that this book helps with a little bit, just helping a little bit of finding yourself and finding that whatever your quirk is, whatever the thing is that makes you a little different, like embrace it, love it, make it part of who you are. That's what's beautiful about it. All of us are different. All of us bring a different strength. And that's what's beautiful about makes us each different and perfect for our purpose. That's just what it is. So to reach me, you can reach me through email, arlingtonpoet@gmail.com. You can follow me on Instagram at arlingtonpoet. You can also follow me on Facebook at Scott Delaney. But thank you so much, Dr. Cass. I really appreciate you having me on. And Kunle, it is great to see you as well and hear both of you as well. It's incredible to be around and being able to converse with such tremendous people. So to have that opportunity to talk with you both, I really appreciate it very much. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Scott. It's also a pleasure to have you share your insightful words and then talk about your book as well. And I can say that for free, the book is absolutely loaded with great benefits. And people who are watching, you can take that as an endorsement from me. And just like as we have it, time flies. This is how we're going to end today's edition of The Man's Space. Dr. Kaz and I, just as we do, will come your way very, very soon with another wonderful edition of the show. Follow us on YouTube so you can get notified when another episode pops up. See you soon. Stay blessed.